is lesson 20. This lesson is 3 pages long this week, so make sure you have all 3 pages. It looks longer than it is just because I wrote out a lot of the explanation in case you need to refer back to it, okay? So the very first page is review. I gave you 12 intervals. Remember, the first thing that you should do is determine the size, okay? Size and quality is what I'm looking for. Go for size first. So count the letters. Start at the first letter and count up letters. Be sure you always count the first letter as 1 and the last letter. Count that in your number, okay? Then once you know that, then you have to determine quality, okay? And I told you last week I'd give you a shortcut for determining quality. If you know the major keys, so if you know that the key of B, let's do the first one together. If you know the key of B has 5 sharps, okay? Those are fat cats go down alleys, F, C, G, D, A. Okay, you've got 5 sharps, the key of B. So look at the first one. We're counting B to G. So how many letters? B, C, D, E, F, G. 6, right? So it's a 6th. Now, do you have G naturals in the key of B? F, C, G. Nope, you have G sharps. So a major 6th is B to G sharp. You take the lower note and ask yourself, do I have this note in the key of B, in that B major scale? Do you have a G in the B major scale? The answer is no. G is G sharp in the B major scale. Okay, so a major 6th is B to G sharp. B to G is a half step smaller, so that if you have a major 6th coming down a half step, that's a minor 6th. Okay? So this method, shortcut of not counting half steps, it relies on the fact that you know how many sharps are in each major key or how many flats are in each major key. And you can figure out what the note is in the major key. Okay? Does that make sense? So the very first thing you do is count letters. That determines size. Count the first one as 1. Okay, you probably are tired of me saying that, but count the first letter as 1. Then you ask yourself, you take the lower pitch. What is the lowest pitch? Okay, it could be the second note, it could be the first note. Whichever one is lower on the staff, okay? In this case, it's B. Take the lower pitch and say, you ask yourself, in the key, it doesn't matter what key signature it says, you're just thinking about this letter. In the key of B, do I have, and then you give the second letter, G's. Okay, key of B has 5 sharps, F, C, G, D, A, right? Ding, ding. Nope, you don't. You have G sharps, so you can't use that one, okay? So G sharps in the key of B would be a major 6, would be B to G sharp. So going down a half step, it's B to G, which would be a minor 6th, okay? You might be like, that is so confusing. I would much rather count half steps. That's fine. However you get to the right answer, if you want to memorize the number of half steps, that's fine too. But if you can say, oh, in the key of, the next one would be the key of F. In the key of F, do I have A flats? If you do, then you know it's a major whatever, okay? Or perfect 4th, perfect 5th, okay? Because in major scales, we have major intervals and perfect intervals. Then you can go from that, from here's my major pitch of my major scale, and adjust. Go up, augmented, or down, minor, and diminished. Perfect intervals go up, augmented, okay? If you have questions with that, please let me know if it doesn't make sense. I think some of you got a little confused on the augmented last week, and the augmented means that it gets one bigger, okay? And we write that AUG, augmented. So an augmented fifth, A to E sharp, okay? In the key of A, do you have E sharps? Nope, you have E's. So that means from A to E, A, B, C, D, E, that would be a perfect fifth. This is one higher, so it's an augmented fifth. Okay? If you have trouble with that, will you call me? I would love to do a Zoom, like talk you through this. We can work through each question. I don't mind doing that, and I would rather you understand this because, again, if you don't get this piece as we start adding, then the rest of it won't make sense. Okay, next part, circle of fifths. This is just your keys, your major keys, okay? So remember, we've got our clock, 0 sharps, 0 flats, C. What key has 1 sharp? What key has 2 sharps? What key has 3 sharps? 4, 5, 6, 7 sharps, okay? Then you're going back this way. 1 flat, 2 flats, 3 flats, 4 flats. Then we start overlapping. 5 flats. And remember, 7 sharps, 5 flats, they're the same note, just written differently. 6 sharps, 6 flats, same note. Like if you were going to play it on your instrument, it would be the same note, but one is C sharp, one is D flat, okay? The enharmonic. Then 7 flats down here, okay? All your major keys, just write your major keys. Remember, one last thing. These are all fifths. So C up a fifth, perfect fifths. G up a fifth, D up a fifth, A up a fifth, okay? Going this way is down a fifth, a perfect fifth. So what's C? Go down a perfect fifth. So you have to go backwards. C, B, A, G, F. Okay? What's a perfect fifth down from F? F, E, D, C, B. In the key of F, you have B flats. So right here, this is the key of B flat. Just a hint, remember that all of the flat keys will have flat in their name. Don't say this is the key of B. The key of B has 5 sharps. The key of B flat has 2 flats, okay? This is all review from way, way back in the beginning of the year. I just want to pull it back out so we don't forget it. Okay, so that's all review. Second page. Back in ancient Greece, and you're like, oh no, she's lost her mind. No, this is really quick history. Okay, back in ancient Greece, when they wrote music, they had 7 different scales that they used. Okay, today we really only use 2 scales predominantly. Now it's becoming more and more popular to go back to these old scales. And in other genres, we have blues scales. So there are more scales that not just major and minor. But predominantly we use 2 of these scales from ancient Greece, okay? These scales, they weren't called scales, they were called modes. We have 7 modes. And I give you the names of those modes here at the top of your page. We have Ionian, Dorian, Phrygian, Lydian, Mixolydian, Aeolian, Locrian, 2, 3. That's it. Those are the 7. Okay. So the major scale pattern that we use today is Aeolian. So the mode from ancient Greece, Aeolian, is the major scale pattern. So it's tonic, whole, whole, half, whole, 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 half. Okay? So we worked that a lot at the end of last semester. The minor scale pattern is based on Aeolian. Okay? So Aeolian mode. And it's whole, half, whole, 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 half. Okay? So you've got when Harry went west, he, I wrote that wrong. He wore white. Sorry, my brain started thinking about something else. When Harry went west, he wore white. Okay? So you have your tonic here. And then whole, half, whole, whole, half, whole, whole. This is the minor scale pattern. Okay? So the first thing that I want you to do here is just write that. Write it with the first letters. When Harry went west, he wore white. Just write that pattern. It's based on the Aeolian mode, but this is the minor scale, the natural minor scale. Okay? Then we're going to write it. So starting on C, I want you to first draw all of the notes. Let's do this one together because you're going to do 2 more on your own. Okay? So start on C and write in the letters D, E, F, G, A, B, C. Okay? So then here's our tonic. We need when Harry went west, he wore white. Okay, so we need a half step between these 2 and these 2. So C to D is that a whole step? Yes. Okay, so we leave it. D to E, is that a half step? No. So we have to add a flat. Okay, so to make it a half step, we always change this note, not this one. So D to E, think about it on your fingerboard. Here's your D string. D to E, there's space here, so we need E flat. Okay, so D to E flat is a half step. Now E flat to F. So low 1 to low 2, F, not F sharp. E flat to F. That's a whole step, so we leave it. F to G. So low 2 to 3 violins, violas. That's a half step, or that's a whole step, so we leave it. Okay? G to A. We need that to be a half step. That's not a half step. So we need to lower this pitch. So G to A flat. 3 to 4 is a whole step, so 3 to low 4, A flat. Okay? Then A flat to B, we need a whole step. So A flat to B is a whole step plus an extra half step, so it's too big. So this has to be a B flat. A flat, low 4, then we need A, B flat. That's our whole step. And then B flat to C, that's a whole step. So then the next question is, what notes, number 3, had sharps or flats? So we have E flat, A flat, and B flat. Okay? Now, when you write sharps and flats in order, we don't write them E, A, B. Remember? It's B, greatest common factor. So question 4 is take whatever these sharp flats are and write them in order. B, E, A. So that's the answer to number 4. B flat, E flat, A flat. If you have B, G, D, and they aren't in flat order, you did something wrong up here. So you need to go back. They will always go B, E, A, D, G, C, F. Okay? You will always have those. And if you have F, but you don't have E and A, then you know something's wrong. Okay? You did something wrong. You will always have, they will always come in that order. You just have to shuffle them. Okay? So then number 5, draw the sharps and flats at the end of the measure, like a key signature. So you're going to take those 3, and at the end, I ran out of room, but you're going to draw B, E, A. Okay, now, it says observe. What major key has the same key signature as C minor? So if this is C minor's key signature, what major key has 3 flats? E flat. Right? Okay, so the key of E flat major and C minor have the same key signature. Tuck that away for later. What is the interval between C and E flat? Okay, we said that C minor has this one and E major has this. So how are these two? What's the distance between C and E flat? How are they related? C, D, E. It's a third. Okay, so that's the size. In the key of, let's ask our question. In the key of C, do we have C major? Do we have E flats? We have E's, right? When you play your C scale. So E is major, so to go down to E flat is going to be minor. C to E flat is a minor third. Okay? Now I'm going to give you a hint. The relationship between all of your major and minor keys, that question, it's going to be the same answer every time. Okay? But you're going to observe that. So that's the big secret. Okay. So this is a ton of steps. So now that we did C together, go to the next page. Let's do G together. Okay. G. It's right in the letters of the scale. G, A, B, C, D, E, F, G. Don't add sharps. We're just writing in the letters. Okay. When Harry went west, he wore white. So my half step is here and here. That's between notes 2 and 3 and 5 and 6, right? If you don't want to write in the whole half, it's between notes 2 and 3 and 5 and 6. Okay, now G to A. There's no TP or tent here, so I need that to be a whole step. Is G to A a whole step? Yes, leave it. A to B, I need that to be a half step. So think A to B on your fingerboard. Nope, that's a whole step. So I need to lower this second pitch. So now I have a half step. G, A, B flat. B flat to C. So play it on your air violin or viola or cello. B flat to C. Whole step or half step? It's a whole step. I need it to be a whole step, so I leave it. C to D. I need that to be a whole step. Is that one a whole step or half step? Play it on your air violin. Whole step. So I leave it. D to E. I need that to be a half step. So D to E is a whole step. So I have to change the second pitch. I lower it. And now I have a half step. E flat to F. I need that to be a whole step. There's no tint. E to F is a half step, right? Open E to low 1. So E flat to F is going to be a whole step. I leave it. F to G, whole step. I leave it. Okay. Question number... Did I get all this? Yes. Yes. Okay, so we were on number 2. So we marked all of those in. We have 2 flats. Question number 3. What notes have sharps or flats? B flat and E flat. Now I write them in sharp order. Well, hey, in this scale, it's kind of cool. They're already in flat order, okay? So that's the same answer, B flat, E flat. Because B, greatest common factor, right? Okay, so now the key of G minor, B flat and E flat. Draw that in the little measure at the end. What major key do you know that has 2 flats? It's B flat major. Okay, so B flat major and G minor have the same key signature. Now, what is the relationship between G and B flat? So G is the lower pitch. G, A, B, it's a third. Do I have B flats in the key of G major? No. So a minor third. So B flat major and G minor have the same key signature, and B flat major and G minor are a minor third apart. Okay? So I have basically done page 2 and the top of page 3 with you. Your job is to do D minor. Do the same steps and you do it. Go through the hardest part. I think that where students get messed up is they want to rush the whole step and half step. Go through that slowly. D to E. Do you need a whole step or a half step? E to, and go think through each note. Don't fly through it. If you can get that part right, where you go whole step and half step, then you'll get your key signatures right. You'll get all the other questions right. Okay? So that's the part that's like, make sure you do that part correctly. Okay? That's the hard part. The rest of it should just be like, okay, I've got this information, and then push your information through the grid. Okay? That's it for this week. No theory next week. It's spring break. Just a reminder, this weekend is a symphony concert. You can get a Zoom code for $20. Your whole family can watch. It's the music of Scott Joplin this weekend. The concert's on Zoom, and Scott Joplin's from Texarkana. So he's like, if you want to hear and learn, hear Louisiana heritage for music, Scott Joplin is one of the most famous African-American composers. He took rhythms from African-American banjo, like fiddle music, and the music that they passed orally to each other. It wasn't always written down, but he had learned that. His mom played the banjo. And then there was a dance that many African Americans did called the cakewalk, and that had a pattern to it. Joplin also went to college and studied music, so he took classical music, and then he took these rhythms from his heritage and bass lines and threw those in, and out came ragtime. Okay, so you've got these melodies that remind you of classical music, and you've got this bass pattern with rhythm in it and syncopation from the African-American heritage here in Louisiana and Texas area, and even up into Missouri. And Joplin put them all together, and out came ragtime, and he was called the King of Ragtime. One of his pieces, the Maple Leaf rag sold over 1 million copies. And at the time, he had worked with an attorney and he was able to get a penny for the sale of every piece of music. Now, that doesn't sound like a ton or a lot, but at the time it was, especially when music sold, like a sheet music sold for 10 cents. So he got 10% of every sale, which is pretty cool, which is about what you get right now when you sell music. If somebody buys your printed music, you get 10% as the composer. Is sometimes you get more, sometimes less, but that's kind of the standard. So this weekend, Scott Joplin, you can sit at home in your pajamas or your sweatshirt, pop a bowl of popcorn, grab a Coke. Can't do that at the symphony, right? So, and watch the music of Scott Joplin. I think you guys will love it. Ragtime gave birth to jazz. This is where jazz gets much of its heritage and its roots. So ragtime is happy music, really fun. I think it'll make you smile. It'll sound like the ice cream truck. So maybe you should eat ice cream instead. Who knows? Have a great weekend. That's the commercial for the symphony is over this weekend. So I'll see you guys in 2 weeks. Have a great